Do the shows measure up? Elevator repair service is at the public doing their wacky version of Measure for Measure, which has become the Shakespeare du jour. Theater for a New Audience did it. York is doing it right now with this wonderful musical, Desperate Measures. It's the story of the Duke leaving town, which has turned into a moral disarray, into the hands of sanctimonious Angelo. He immediately condemns Claudio to death for impregnating his fiancée Juliet. The only one to save him is his sister Isabella, who is becoming a nun. Angelo, the creep, says he will spare her brother only if she sleeps with him. Rather than succumb, she plots with a kindly monk, who is really the Duke, to have Angelo's ex-fiancée Mariana take her place. This really is a problem play. It's just like, I don't like it. And I think it's going on right now because of all the sexual harassment, because of Harvey Weinstein, because this is full of hypocrisy and sexual harassment. But in this version was so crazy. They were either going through the dialogue at breakneck speed or in one scene in slow motion. But, you know, even if you miss it, you could always read the text in this projection that was scrolling down in a very dizzying fashion. And set designer Jim Findley created what looked like a leftover set for the front page with this big giant conference table with those old-fashioned, 1940s phones, on the base, you pick it up and you talk like that way. And Kay Boyce created some very pretty 1940s clothing. But that was a bit concerning because the nun didn't have on a nun's habit. She just was wearing a very nice suit with a very pretty pin. The Elevator Repair Ensemble are very skilled at making long tomes digestible for the masses, and John Collins knew the best way to direct them to showcase their prodigious talents. As I have repeatedly stated, I hate this play. So all the variations that are being done to make sense of this problem play, I am all for, even when it is nonsense, as in the case here. You talk and act funny, and you make funny faces, and I will laugh like a kid. I'm basically a 2-year-old. So if you like your Shakespeare straight, then this will annoy you. Just as it did get a bit tiresome, though, some fresh silliness would occur to lighten the mood. So for the most part, I did enjoy this, so I'm giving it a happy face minus.
And at the Wild Project, presented by Phoenix Theater Ensemble, we have another classic play that deals with sexual harassment and hypocrisy. It's Molière's Tartuffe, in which a rich bourgeois Orgon is convinced that Tartuffe is a holy man, and he brings him to live with his family, who feel that the man is somewhat less than holy. A saint he ain't, says the blunt-spoken maid. And Tartuffe sort of manages to be so opportunistic. He gets everything from Orgon, and the family suffers. But the wife sort of uses Tartuffe's sort of sexual interest in her to try to get him away from the daughter that the husband wants him to marry.
Yeah, he's completely mesmerized by this guy. And I've got to say, the costume designer, Debbie Hobson, oh my God, I want her to design my clothes. I want to have fake cleavage like that, because it was literally eye-popping what she did with because she was supposed to be very well endowed, so it's like they made Dolly Parton look flat-chested next to this costume.
I'm sure Elise Stone probably had trouble breathing in some scenes. They're so well corseted.
But what made this interesting was, because there was a talkback afterwards, and Craig Smith, the director, said he was doing this version in Orgon's eyes. So the focus was really Orgon and the way he was seeing everything, not Tartuffe so much. And it was really fascinating how relevant it was. I never noticed this before, and I've seen 2 other versions of this, but the guy was so bamboozled by Tartuffe, no matter what horrible thing presented himself to him that was obvious to show how horrible he was blind by it, just like Trump followers, that no matter what terrible, hideous thing Trump does, they don't see it, they will not listen to it.
You could explain everything as fake news.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, even seeing is believing. He made excuses. I mean, really, to finally drive it home to him was really hard.
But the cast is really wonderful, and they do make Tartuffe kind of in a weird way, very sexy and charismatic.
Well, I didn't think. I know you thought that, but
the tattoos help.
Yeah, to me, I mean,
they don't for you.
Yeah, well, you know, I saw John Wood and, you know, and John Glover. And I mean, they're oily and smarmy, and they were fun to watch. I mean, it's sort of...
well, that's more the standard way of presenting him. Here, they wanted to try to get some sense of how he could, you know, hoodwink people by appealing somehow, even against their own will.
Yeah, but he wasn't...
And he seemed to sort of believe what he was saying, even though he was making more than full use of every opportunity.
That's true. I mean, he didn't come across as evil Charles Manson, you know, Rasputinish. He did not come across that way. I will give you that. So I mean, I love the Phoenix Ensemble. They do such a wonderful
They're great,
job.
and they're doing it in a way that even if you've seen this 100 times before, it'll still feel like a completely new and refreshing play. Bravo, Phoenix.
Anna Ziegler's last match at Laura Pell's The Roundabout is a high-stakes tennis match between Tim, a former #1 champ struggling to still stay on top of the game and relevant, while rising new star Sergey is out to prove that he's the best, even if it is to dispose of his idol. Cheering and tearing them down from the sidelines are their respective spouses and fiancés. We get a behind-the-scene look at their personal struggles, and my allegiance kept changing whom I wanted to win. You know, you hear about Tim and his struggles to stay on top and trying to have a kid and miscarriages, and then you have Sergey and Russia and trying to, you know, be a winner. It just, you know, I like them both. Ray Poor's sound design put you right in the middle of the action. This was a well thought out and acted play about what it takes to succeed and how one measures one's own worth. And the females on the sideline were also very interesting and what they gave up for the men in their lives. So I found this really very interesting.
Keen Company is presenting Lonely Planet, A Story of Friendship in a Time of Crisis, written by Stephen Dietz and directed by Jonathan Silverstein. It's a two-character play in which Jody owns a small map shop which he prefers to keep clutter-free. His friend and seemingly the only customer, Carl, begins to bring in a series of mismatched chairs. It becomes clear that this is Eugene Ionesco's The Chairs in the Time of the AIDS Crisis, although this coy play never mentions that. And I really hated the play. I thought it was sort of like a little bit of stand-up comedy, sitcom, coyly dealing with the AIDS crisis, but never really talking about it. And I just couldn't believe these characters at all. And I'm not allowed to give away something which seems to be the only justification for the play at all. But even that doesn't do it.
We so disagree about this play. I was so moved by it. It was in Matt McGrath, the way he comes, he bursts in, and the way his character changes throughout, and you can see what a caring, dynamic person this is, as he's desperately trying to help Arnie Burton, who is basically too terrified to leave his map store, and just his maps, they have structure. Even if they're distorted, they're still say something, and craziness is
right,
out
it's
there.
It's a way of understanding the world, however distorted, while the other guy is really out in the world and doesn't need a map to guide him.
Right, and he's, you know, basically trying to bring this guy back into the world, no matter how terrible and lonely a planet it is. And I mean, it just brought back such memories of all my friends that all died, and it just accumulates. It's overwhelming.
I don't know. I found it very underwhelming, and the only movement that it might have inspired is a bowel movement.
Because you have no heart. You really don't. You don't know what it's like to be overwhelmed by friends' deaths and what it's like.
I care, but I could put it in perspective.
Yeah, but you're a detached, unsentimental person.
Yes.
And so this play is not for you because you're like a Grinch. You steals
But a
presence.
really good play that is moving could win me over.
Well, this
didn't.
No, this was really well written because it was so subtle, and you learn little bits and pieces of information that like, oh wow, and then you just get more and more.
Of course, they were all telegraphed from the beginning. I don't think you learned very much at all.
No, they were not to me, and they wouldn't be to you. And I by the end, I was moved to tears. And Arnie Burton,
the actors are
who
good.
usually does comedy. He was so dramatic and just so serious in this, and I mean, it was like a new side to Arnie Burton. And also, he only had to play one character. Usually, he plays like 20,000 characters. Yeah. And Matt McGrath, who got a chance, to go beyond that, his usual flamboyant exterior, and show a real heart and soul underneath. And I thought Stephen Dietz and the director, Jonathan Silverstein, did a fabulous job. I absolutely love this to pieces.
I would give it unhappy for the play, but happy for the actors. So for me, it's mixed, but I would say skip it.
And for once, I know I shouldn't be getting the last word, but I disagree completely. You will bring tissues when you see this, because it's just going to give you shivers of just like, whoa. We had problem with sound on the last show, so that's why I'm redoing these, even though they're closed, because they got short shrift. And musicals tonight is just, I love them so much. And they did Bells Are Ringing, which is Comden and Green, and music by Julie Stein. And it was directed and choreographed by Casey Colgan, and even costume designs by Jack Masonbach this time. Back in the olden days, they used to have these answering machine operators. They didn't have voicemails, and Sousaphones was one of these services. And Ella, played by Oakley Boycott, whom we just love, she played in the movie Faith Prince did it on Broadway, but Judy Holliday, yeah, that's it. Anyway, the thing is this: she gets so involved with the clients and with the gangster that's trying to take over use it as a bookie place, and then the police, they want to pin some kind of like sex thing on them. So it's like, it's all this mix up and craziness, and everyone gets together, and songs are sung, and it's just a lot of fun, and it was so slick this time around. So Musicals Tonight will be back for their second season in a couple months, and they'll be doing Anything Goes again and other wonderful shows. But Musicals Tonight is just so wonderful. And I didn't have time, but the New Victory is back, and they spruced up their place and renovated. It's gorgeous. And their first show they had was Oscar Wilde's Young King, not to be confused with his Happy Prince. I guess he likes doing fairy tales about royalty. This is from Slingsby, which is based in Adelaide, South Australia. And it's about this young king that his mom got banished into the forest, and he lost his parents, and they found him to make him king again. He'd been raised by a goat herd. So at first he was all excited to be, having riches, and then he learns what riches cost people. So then he wants to go back to being a goat herd, and materialism is bad. It's a very anti-capitalistic play. But they're doing all sorts of things next, which I will be putting into the listings. But go check out the New Victory. They're back better than ever, and brand new and beautiful. And this was only for the weekend. It's closed. But here I went to the ontological puppet show for The Toy Becomes a Weapon. Callan Sherrard from France. We went from Australia to France. Did this very weird puppet show with very ugly puppets, and it wasn't my cup of tea, and there's more on Facebook. But again, here does very interesting things. And at La Mama, I saw Armitage Gone. Again, this is closed, but Halloween Unleashed, Dancing Bones, Tasting Darkness, and The Skeleton Within. It was inspired by that sort of cartoon, that skeleton dance cartoon, but there were bats, and there were dancing pumpkin heads, and a giant owl, and Carol Armitage is just so inventive and playful and fun, and I just love her to pieces. And finally, again, these are all closed. I saw Ted Greenberg, who we know from The Fringe, from The Complete Performer, former David Letterman writer. He's got a story called Ace about his dad, and running around in his cab, and he's trying to get 50 fares in one of his shifts to break a record. He's trying to graduate from Harvard. It's only taken him 8 years to write this paper on Edmund Spencer. And Ivan Belsky makes an appearance. And again, that gets a happy face. So there's tons of stuff on Facebook about all the plays that have closed, but I want to let you know that stuff is going on that you should know about. And now to introduce the actors and their characters from a new musical, Red Roses, Green Gold, with that music we know and love from the Grateful Dead. And they're appearing right now at the Minetta Lane.
Carey. I'm playing Dudley. Red Roses, Green Gold. Red Roses, Green Gold is a new jukebox musical featuring the music of Jerry Garcia and Robert Hunter. It's an original story, original book. It's a fun time. The story is about this family in 1920s, the Jones family, and how they con and swindle their way to riches in this town of Cumberland.
And what is your part?
So I play the brother of the villain in the story. So we have a little villain, and I'm his brother.
Are you the good brother?
I'm the good brother. Yeah, I'm the one that just kind of gets pulled along with the ride, and that doesn't really know what's going on. But yeah, I'm the good one.
I'm Maggie Hollinbeck. I play Glendine in Red Roses, Green Gold. Glendine is sort of the Earth Mother. She's the feminine one who really holds it all together and keeps the men in check and makes sure that that everything's going according to plan.
Are you one of the Joneses?
I am Jones adjacent. I am Jack Jones' longtime girlfriend, 20 years long girlfriend.
Hi, my name is Debbie, Debbie Tjong, and I play Bertha in Red Roses and Green Gold.
And what is your character?
My character, I play Bertha, and she is the love interest of Mick Jones, who is played by Mike Viruet. I'm gesturing over there, he's over there.
And you like sweetheart, Charlie, sweetheart, how about that?
Well, so my character, basically, Mick Jones is a swindler, a con man. He travels around the country and everything, and we met while he was in Mississippi, and I decided to follow him.
You're a groupie.
I'm a groupie! Yes, I am! I'm a groupie!
Hello, my name is Rachel Klein, the director and choreographer of Red Roses, Green Gold. My cast is extraordinary. They're multi-instrumentalists, actors, singers, dancers. They are doing it all, and the show is very physically active and dynamic on top of being so intricate musically. So the producers were looking for a director. It was the most important thing to them to find somebody that understood both worlds of musical theater and of straight-up rock and roll to make sure that both industries were represented within the creative vision of the show. And it's been so great working with the team. My designers are extraordinary. I cannot wait for you to see the show so you can just check out what everything looks and sounds and feels like. It's going to be experiential for sure. The great thing about the music of Jerry Garcia and Robert Hunter is that it is so poetic, it's soulful, and it touches people. You know, we found this even during our audition process. The people who are fans of this music, many of them broke into tears when auditioning with their song because it touches a chord in their soul. And I've had the extraordinary opportunity of being able to see Dead & Co. a couple of times now, which is fantastic, to support our music supervisor, Jeff Chimenti, who is the keyboardist for Dead & Co. He's fabulous and amazing, and I adore him. But being at these shows and seeing what it does to the fans musically, how they react to the music, it's like a transcending experience for them. So, you know, it's a tall order for us because we want to honor that. We don't want to manipulate the music too much. We want to make sure that it is representing what it is that the fans love about it. And that's why it's so great to have Jeff with us, because he keeps us authentic, and he has been collaborating with our music director, Andy Peterson, who is extraordinary and a longtime collaborator of mine, to get the sound to just be what it needs to be to fulfill the storytelling and what the fans expect from it. And at our reading, people were up and dancing to all the music at 11 a.m. at a staged reading. I've never seen anything like it before in my life. I mean, it was incredible. The music moves people.
Here we are with
Natalie Storrs.
and you playing the part of
Melinda.
and what's that part?
Melinda is the daughter of Jack Jones. She's his second child. She's got an older brother, Mick, and she has taken on running the entirety of the mine and saloon that the family owns called the Palace. I'm in the good guy gang. I'm in the Jones family. These are the McElroy brothers. So they're Jessup and Dudley McElroy, and they are the scheming, conniving brothers who are trying to take over the town and buy everything up.
I'm David Park,
And you play?
and I'm playing Liam. Liam is the son of Jack Jones's best friend. I moved away when I was a kid, and I come back to Cumberland to a little. This is kind of a secret, but I also come to make Melinda fall for me. Cumberland, I would say, exists in its own little world. It's a world of charm. There's poverty there, but it's people that find joy in the little things. And especially this Jones family that the story is centered around, family is everything to them. And when family is broken, they try to fix it. And I think that's what people are really going to be attracted to in this story, is that no matter what, like the amazing music and despite them all being con men, which might have a negative connotation, it's a story about family. It's a story about relationships and what it means to build those relationships, to fix those relationships. There is a villain. He's a crooked man, but he's played by our amazing drummer, Michael McCoy Reilly, and he just plays him in such a way that you root against him because you have to, but he's so charming and so deliciously slick. Each character really shines in this story, and we all have something to say and something to share, and we're really excited to share that with you guys.
Here we are with,
My name's Mike Reilly. I'm playing Jessup.
and Jessup is.
Jessup McElroy is the villain. I'm growing my villainous long beard. Yes, I'm enjoying playing the villain, Jessup McElroy. My thing is, I am trying to take back the Palace Saloon and Mine that the Jones family, a generation earlier, has swindled away from my dear daddy in a poker game. So I will stop at nothing to get back what I feel is rightfully mine.
You're not.
As Jerry Garcia says, good don't mean much without evil.
Michael Viruet.
And you are playing the part.
I'm Mick Jones, and I am a little bit of a protective older brother, but also a little bit of a mischievous older brother as well. Music that we're performing for the shows, it's music that's meant to be performed and seen on stage with its theatrics and all that jazz, versus, to hear on a studio album, which some of them are great. There have been some awesome studio albums, but now we're actually able to show the magic live on stage in the theater at the Minetta Lane, and it's going to be righteous.
And also,
The cast are all wickedly talented musicians, and the cool thing is getting to play with all of them and learning their fortes, what they're really good at, and being able to freestyle jam. I can't ask for anything more. And being able to play with new licks and stuff and playing off of other people's improv. It's great.
Okay, this is Bob Criso's review of Fuck, Marry, Kill. With a talented, hard-working cast, clever staging, imaginative choreography, and some first-rate writing, author James Preston's Fuck, Marry, Kill captures all the sturm and drug of adolescence and then some. They are struggling with various aspects of sex, drugs, friendship, secrets, competition, relationships, betrayals, and problems at home, while in the process of defining who they are and where they're going after graduation. Despite its many strengths, and there is much to admire, it's in dire need of some serious editing and refinement. Intensity and chaos can be effectively conveyed without all the in-your-face pounding, musically and otherwise, and he gives it a mixed face. And I'm sorry I cut off Michael saying it's great at the end of that interview. And of course, the fuller reviews you can read on our Facebook page. And Scott Siegel at 54 Below is doing a Billy Joel tribute, so that should be great. Let's see, where is it? There it is. And 2x2 is also going to be at 54 Below. And I had to do the show earlier than normal, so my review of My Perfect Pet is going to show up on the Facebook page. And Golden Boy, too, I should mention, which is a Parkinson's actor's doing it. Home Place we'll do on our next show. And at La Mama, we're going to be seeing Charles Ludlam's Conquest of the Universe. That also is going to show up on our Facebook page, the review. A lot going on at BAM. John Cale and the Velvet Underground and Nico. David Dorfman. And there's where Fuck, Marry, Kill is playing. And at the Public Theater, you've got Office Hours playing, which I'm going to be seeing also, and that review will be on the Facebook page. That's Teresa Rebeck, what we're up against. And these closed reviews you can find on the Facebook page. And these are the parody production recommendations going on right now. And don't forget to pick up your Performing Arts Insider. It's a cultural heartbeat of New York City. I could not do the show without it. We're dedicating the entire season to Barry Liebman. The next show is November 25th. Remember, go to Facebook page to get all the reviews and information that you need.